Okay, so this is the last tutorial for us to do to complete the rock, paper, scissors game. We see here if we click rock, paper, scissors, we can see the user choice being logged out of the console. But what we want to do now is let's just override this get ready text, the player choice. Okay, so if we go to the index.html file, we'll notice here we have this get ready paragraph, but it has a user choice text output ID. So if we go to the script file, we'll notice that user choice text output, we've actually got that. We've said document.getElementById, and we've stored it inside of user choice text. So when the user clicks on the button, rather than just, you know, essentially logging out the result to the console, in this case user choice, let's override the value of the user choice text with the user choice, okay, whatever the user actually selected. So how we do that is we can say user choice text. So we're selecting that paragraph, okay? And what we want to do is we want to change the inner text of that to be whatever the user chose. And we saw that whatever the user chose is stored in the variable user choice. So all we need to do is just assign that the value of user choice. So if I now save and refresh, if I click on rock, we see that has changed to rock. Okay, that's awesome. But we don't yet see the computer choice, which we can see here is scissors. So let's do the same thing. Well, the paragraph for the computer choice is here, and we've assigned that the ID of computer choice text output. And what we did is we've got that as well. We said document.getElementById, computer choice text output. So we use the document object model to store that in this variable computer choice text. So down here, let's just access that variable, computer choice text output, and we will change the inner text of it to be whatever the computer choice was. And remember, computer choice is a variable here that we've defined. And what is the computer choice value? Well, computer choice basically is the value of whatever is returned by this function, generate computer choice. Generate computer choice generates a random number, and then depending on whether it's 1, 2, or 3, we get returned rock, paper, scissors, okay? So if we now save and refresh, now if I click on rock, and okay, computer choice did not override. What happened there? That should work. Computer choice, it's called computer choice text, apologies. My bad, I apologize about that. So let's try again. So computer choice text is what we call that variable up there. This is why I like to do it, write the code in incremental bit by bit. So now if we click rock, awesome. We see they both got rock, and that's awesome. Now, we haven't done any logical check yet to see if, in this case, that would be a draw. So we need to set that up, get the result, did the user win, did the computer win, and then override the value here. So that's the next thing we're going to do. We're going to do a check to see who actually won. Well, what we can do is we can basically run that code here using an if statement. So the first thing we'll check for is actually the draw. So we can check to see if user choice is equal to the computer choice. So remember, user choice is what the user chose, that variable there, and computer choice is what the computer chose. And if that's the case, we can just basically say console.log draw, okay? So that's going to be a draw if we get the same. I'll just see if I can get a draw here. Oh, we got a draw again. So that's awesome. But now what we want to do is whatever the result is, let's override the value of get ready there. So get ready, that paragraph has been assigned the value, the ID, I should say, apologies, of result output text. So if we grab that using the document object model, which we did up here, we said document.getElementById, we stored it in the result output text. What we can do is set the inner text of that. So rather than logging out draw to the console, what we can do is we can take that variable result output text, okay? We can set the inner text of that and basically just set it to be draw. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the console.log draw. What's happening now is if we actually get a draw, instead of just logging it out to the console, what's going to happen is we're going to basically say it was a draw there. So let me just save and refresh. So, okay, it was a draw again. Okay, awesome. Okay, so now we've set up the logic if it's a draw. Let's just check to see if the user won or if the computer won. So how we're going to do this as follows. We're going to use the else if, okay? And in each else if, we're going to check, first of all, did the user pick rock, paper, scissors, okay? So else if, we're going to say user choice is equal to rock. If that's the case, we're going to run some code. Sorry, that should be an else if, my apologies. Else if, then we have else if again, if the user choice was equal to rock, paper, scissors. Check for paper. We're going to run some code. Else if the user choice was equal to scissors, rock, paper, scissors, we're going to run some code. And what we can do inside of each of these is we can actually check to see who won using the ternary operator. So for example, if the user choice is rock, we can use the ternary operator to set the text output, okay? So what I mean by that is follows. First of all, we know with the ternary operator, we're checking to see, if some condition was true. So for example, how do we win if we're the user and we pick rock? Rock beats scissors. So let's check to see in this condition if the computer choice was scissors, okay? So we say computer choice. What we're doing now is we're going to use the ternary operator. We're going to say computer choice scissors. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the ternary operator. So we're going to say question mark. Was the computer choice scissors? And what we know is that if that is true, we run this condition. And if it is false, we run that condition, okay? But instead of saying true, just like a random string, what we actually want to do is just change the result output text, that variable dot inner text. We want to change that to be that the user won. So we can say player wins. Player wins. So what we're doing now is basically if the user chose rock and the computer chose scissors, we're saying that the player won. Otherwise, if the computer did not pick scissors, that was false. They must have picked paper. Paper beats rock, in which case actually the computer won. So what we can do is just basically copy that, paste it here, and just change that to be computer wins, okay? So we just got to complete the logic for all the different scenarios. So computer wins, okay? So let's do it now for paper. So again, we're going to check to see if the user won first. So computer choice is equal to, so if the user chose paper, how would they win? Well, they would win if the computer chose rock. So let's check to see if the computer chose rock, okay? And if that's the case, the user has won. So we'll change the result output.text.inner text to be the player wins. So let's do that there. However, if the computer did not actually pick rock, we know the computer has actually won because they must have picked scissors, and scissors beats paper. So the player lost. So we'll just copy and paste that in there. Okay. And then lastly, let's just check to see if we chose scissors, if the user won. Okay. So, or the player, I should say. So how we do that is we check to see. So remember, we're checking to see if the computer chose scissors, okay? And then if the computer chose rock. So now we want to check to see if they chose, let me see, rock, paper, okay? So if they chose paper, then that means that we won. So computer choice paper, okay? Question mark. Well, if the user chose scissors and the computer chose paper, then the user wins. So we can copy that code there, okay? Remember, it's a ternary operator, so we just have our colon there. However, if the user chose scissors, but the computer did not choose paper, okay, then the computer chose rock. Rock beats scissors, so actually the computer did in fact win that time there. And let's just put our semicolons to end our statements. And computer choice needs to be equal to, apologies, strictly equal to paper. Okay, so let's now check to see what happens. So if I go rock, rock, paper, computer wins. Yeah, paper beats rock. Okay, so we lost. If we pick paper, computer won again because scissors beats paper. And if I click scissors, the player won because scissors beats paper. Okay, awesome. And what's really cool is if I click on rock, player choice is rock, paper, it's paper, scissors. So let's see if the computer wins. Scissors beats paper. Awesome. And then if you wanted, you could just stop logging out to the console the choice. So you could just delete that to clean up the code. And if you wanted, you could just add an else here, just basically saying console.log, no selection or something like that. So this is actually unreachable code. It's very bad practice what I'm doing here, but I always like to have an else at the end of the statement. Okay, so guys, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Over the last two tutorials, we saw how we could create a rock, paper, scissors game. How we did it essentially was we created our index.html file, and then in the script file, we wrote all of the logic. So really what we did was we just essentially listened out on the buttons for a user click. So choice buttons dot for each. We're listening out for a user click. The user clicks on it. Basically what we're doing is we're just basically seeing what the user chose. Then we're generating a computer choice. We're doing a comparison of that down here, and then just really updating the elements on the page just to reflect, what happened. Was the user choice rock? What was the computer choice? Was it a draw, or did someone win? Player wins, draw, computer wins. Awesome. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I'll see you in the next one for more JavaScript.